Hi everyone and welcome to another pick a card reading. Today's subject is divine guidance for the next 3 months, and of course it is no coincidence that I have chosen this subject. At least from an astrological perspective, we have a really tough 3 months ahead of us. We're already deep in the pressure, deep in the turmoil. This is where it's not calm before the storm. This is where the storm is unfolding. We're basically almost in the eye of the storm. So I do believe that the big picture, where we're going, is very important right now because, Neptune is holding some very powerful conversations, and there are so many other celestial events which distort our senses because there's so much to reveal. Everything right now has more dimensions to it than one. It's not just black and white. So that will make it very hard for us to see the light at the end of the tunnel, or keep on focusing on it, or even not to forget exactly who we are and what we're doing here as we go through the storm. So basically in this reading, we are attempting to take a look at how your life may shape in the next 3 months. Because if we understand the karmic patterns playing out in our lives, that can very well serve as a sort of anchor, where even when things are very difficult for us and we're confused and, our lives are just in a living chaos, at least we have that focus, that symbolic map revealing to us our next destination, that can be a motivational force to keep us going and basically help us not to drown in the waters of Neptune, if you get what I'm saying. So, as usual, the timestamps for the 4 different interpretations can be found in the comments and also in the description below. And with this being said, let's get into the reading. Hello everyone who has chosen the first pile. Your cards are the Six of Wands, the Devil, the Empress, and the Nine of Coins. Now this is quite a fortunate, should I say lucky combination, because that Six of Wands represents a powerful victory, a powerful triumph, maybe a moment of justice for you personally regarding your karmic path. Because what I'm picking up for this pile is that in the past, and that past can be the past 6 years, or from the year 2016, 2017 perhaps, for others still 2018, things have not been very stable, things have not been very pleasant in your life. There was a lot of chaos, there was a lot of turbulence, there was a lot of losses. And when I say losses, of course, some of those events, for example, I am very sure that someone from this pile might have had a divorce, and that's the loss. Another person, their career, someone, their livelihood, etc., etc. So their lives went through a really profound and, kind of point of no return transformation, where the past was basically annihilated, especially physically, materially, palpably, in a very down-to-earth way. So there was no going back. And the way I see this loss, or this very turbulent 6 years or less for some people it's just 4 years, is when, a spider is in trouble. Well, they perform a kind of self-mutilation where they just abandon their limbs snap off, allowing them to escape. So this is what I'm actually seeing, where you might have very quickly, suddenly had to leave something behind, maybe a relationship, job, house where you live, the country, etc. And, a part of this was naturally karma, but a part of this was also you just knew it had to be done. And if you wouldn't have made these steps, even though they were really, really not easy, you might have suffered basically a worse fate, especially psychologically, because that devil does represent that you did everything in your power, basically, good and bad, to have your independence back, your freedom, especially from a psychological perspective. For some people, of course, this may have money to it, or, certain living conditions, whatever, but it's the psychology of it all that's most important. You needed to basically own your life, to take ownership, to live it, to embody who exactly you are, and any element in your life that was keeping you in shackles just didn't allow it. And some of those, let's say, elements in your life, maybe job, career, people, neighbors, etc., family, it's not that there was something wrong with it, it was no longer you, and all your life basically might have just been, by the time all of this happened, a big act where you were just putting up with it or putting on the mask symbolically, but it was no longer you. So it was time for a big purge, and you've been through a lot. Your life has been changing, rearranging ever since. There was a lot of obstacles that you successfully overcome, so you had a lot of moments of victory from that point until the present. But there is still something missing, because I do get the sense that even though you've handled every situation exemplary and you've done a lot of inner work, and basically you really started tapping into that lifestyle, that attitude of independence, even though maybe your conditions go against this. So you might have not achieved that in a very down-to-earth way, but you already started making very important steps to it. But there's still the devil in your life, because, as I said, you escaped from a certain setup, a certain lifestyle, a certain situation, but those shackles just took a different form, and they're still in your life. Psychologically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you are free. That is absolutely true. But until your life reflects this in a very precise manner, so to speak, as within, so without, based on this principle, there's still a lot of work to be done. But don't get me wrong, it's not your work that you're actively doing. It's more like the puzzle needs to complete itself. And basically, I do believe that one of the key problems here, why your life doesn't look yet the way it should be, why your original intent to free yourself and achieve independence on all levels is not completed yet, is because there's a big and very, very hidden self-worth issue that's keeping you blocked. And this may or may not come as a surprise, but the thing is that self-worth issue was totally hidden even from your side, symbolically speaking, because it masked itself so very many times along your journey in life. And that's why the life that you've had never 100% resonated with who you are in the core level, because there's that self-worth issue that might stem from childhood or from school, from teen years, a failed relationship, or someone might have made you feel not on the same pedestal as everyone else. Maybe there was a big social difference between you and other people when you were like a child, or it might be just a big difference of mentality and worldview between you and the rest of society. And this was how you lived your life until now. You kind of never wanted to fit in on a soul level, but had to fit in. So there was a lot of, spiritual and psychological compromise you made with yourself just to fit in, just to exist, just to live. But that passed as well. So the time for that is long terminated. And perhaps that inner awakening that you need to be truly who you are was at the root of all. And you started slowly rediscovering yourself. You started seeing sides of you which you never even thought would be possible because you did a lot of big things during the past 6 years. You outperformed on every single level, and usually the odds were against you, and you still succeeded, even though you might not see your moments as success, but rather just survival, but they were actually big successes. And perhaps just recently, we had a really revelatory lunar eclipse in Taurus in this sense. You started actually seeing your self-worth problems as they truly are and where they're stemming from. You went back to those memories, those not so favorable moments, and you kind of had life put, not so long ago, a big mirror in front of you, and you saw yourself reacting to certain situations, certain connections, certain conversations, situations in life, etc., where you could actually, observe that low self-worth closing certain doors for you. And that is when it sparked. That is when you had the eureka moment. Because hold on a minute, I'm the author of a lot of missed opportunities in my life, and it is this low self-worth because you might not really believe that you have done enough, whatever in your life, to deserve honors, to deserve recognition, to deserve love, to deserve compassion, to deserve everything that, most people think they deserve. So that wound is this deep. You're not even the same level as like a just average person. Someone who's living happily in conditioning and ignorance and stuff like that. So you can imagine what a big, inner black hole you had within you. That was kind of reflecting all the bad things, and you kind of went a little bit upside down, spiritually speaking. But of course, not now. This was quite a long time ago, a couple of years, let's say, 2020 or 2019, something like that. Because you asked yourself, like, why are all my fears and the bad things I think about myself and as I view myself as reflecting in my life, what is the divine actually doing? Is it agreeing with my low self-worth? Is that it? Because then, a huge alarm bell is ringing. But actually, that's why you went through the most painful part of that journey, for you now to understand that it was you doing that, it was you manifesting that. And if you want the opposite of that, because you saw just how masterful you were at manifesting the not so good, all those mirrors which reflect that which you think only about yourself, the low worth. And naturally that goes the other way around, but you really need to step up your game now. You identify the wound, you observed yourself, belittling yourself or talking down to yourself, and the worth, the physical expression of the worth and that independence that you were seeking just simply couldn't enter your life, not even as a quantum coincidence or as a miracle or whatever, even though you have a lot, as in a lot of spiritual power. You're much more powerful than most people from a spiritual perspective, and yet still, this is why you never harvested the fruits of that spiritual labor, because it was this low self-worth. But where all of this is leading you, well, I might imagine that around this Taurus lunar eclipse, so the end of November and also the beginning of December, you kind of realize that you need to change this quickly and drastically. You kind of came face to face with a certain kind of reality check where everything that you deserve, how that should be, and that you cannot go on without actually having, owning, possessing, living all the things that you deserve. So this was like the crystal clear feedback that the eclipse taught you that you need this in your life. And the only way you can have it, even if basically the whole universe, all the spiritual forces, everything want to give it to you, you need to accept it. And this is how you accept it, by your own unique way, just acknowledging that you actually deserve it, and that is normal. And also owning your power, because you're very, very good at something, is also basically natural. It doesn't go against any principle of humbleness or humility or anything like that. Especially in this day and age, you need to own your power, and that can only be done with a at least healthy self-worth. At least a self-worth which is not set to self-defeat all the time. And because you already realize this, it is this karmic manifestation that is put into motion right now, and this is going to manifest over the next 3 months of your life. Perhaps, this is what the Saturn-Uranus square is about for you guys, personally speaking. So as I said, I do see a powerful victory which will lead you guys to the independence that you always sought. So it's also something material. It is also something financial, palpable, very down to earth. So either money, job, career. So for some of you guys, this victory can be on a career level, on a life path level, when you kind of hit a jackpot, in the sense that everything comes together perfectly and it gets you exactly where you need to be. But of course, it's gonna be pretty big and you fear it. So it's gonna be like a bigger opportunity with a lot of responsibility that you kind of fear, but in physical reality, as in truth, you really have nothing to fear, because you're very, very experienced. You can take it on with ease. You're that good because you had a lot of work in the background. Maybe you have some studies in this sense and relevant experience, maybe in another domain, but it goes together, it handshakes perfectly. Or it can also be reputation. You did work not so long ago and it helped someone in a very profound manner, and they will definitely reward you. Or it can be a project, your business, your something, that a decision that you took in this sense, something that pays off, something that is going to be victorious, but it also requires a compromise. A big compromise. For others, it would be the simplest thing in the world. Just say, yes, I accept it, I deserve it, bye. For you, it's kind of difficult because you will be put on a certain kind of pedestal one way or another, and you might not like or fear or feel guilty for that position of power, but you will need to accept it for your independence. So money or resource, livelihood, or a big boost for your business, whatever situation you are in, is definitely coming, but it will be your choice if you can accept it or not. And this is, related to your self-worth, but in actual reality, there is no reason why you could not handle it, because you're that good, that experienced, you're really, really unique in what you do, whatever this is. For other people, it might not necessarily be lucrative, be material in the sense of career, job, what you do with your hobbies, with your talent, with your skills, even though you had a lot of work in that sense. But maybe the independence is going to come through in the shape and form of a person, especially if you're single and looking. Maybe it is a wealthy partner, or especially if you are freelance or project-based work, or, not 9-to-5 job, a sponsor, someone who kind of falls in love with you, and they have money or material resources in excess. So of course that is what they are going to come to the table with. And because of your low self-worth, can you accept this? Can you basically embrace this opportunity as if you deserve it? Because that person is gonna be very generous to you. It's gonna be someone like you never ever met. And as I say, exactly because money is their strong point, their strongest point, somehow they will express what they feel materially, and this should usually bother you a lot. But this is the challenge here, this is the compromise. Are you willing to just accept and live with it? Especially that from, let's say, different perspectives, you might enjoy this person a lot. So this person isn't gonna just heal your self-worth through, I don't know, money or supporting you, but in other physical ways as well. So, it's gonna be something very, very intense and very life-changing, but you need to accept it, because until or unless you say that yes, that I accept it, I take this opportunity, regardless if it's like a lover or if it's like your big triumph in your career, it is still a difficult choice for you personally. And perhaps it's gonna be very difficult in the sense that even after you have this in your life, so the big victory, you will need to keep it. You will need to preserve it. You will need to hold your ground and not, for example, let people walk over you, or you must not let this independence change you in the ways that you don't want to be transformed and changed. So there is a lot of work that follows after that. And as I said, a certain kind of compromise where, you will need to live with much greater self-discipline, and you will need to obey your own rules, especially that which comes to saying no, being more strict, standing up for yourself, not allowing people to walk over you, and etc., etc. So this is gonna be quite a difficult blessing and breakthrough to keep and manage, preserve, and keep your balance, and make sure you don't get uprooted, if you know what I mean. But at the end of the day, if you keep on focusing very strongly on that self-worth wound right now, and being compassionate and understanding towards yourself, because that's the only way it can get better, that's the only way it changes even as frequency, if you know what I mean. Because this also changes your mindset. It also changes how your mind operates, if you know what I mean. And that's also very important. And it's not going to be easy, of course, because all of us are facing a very, very turbulent period. When the pilot just says, well, expect turbulence, it's not going to be easy, it's going to be quite scary, but it's okay, I know what I'm doing. It's that kind of period that we're facing, so it's gonna be challenging, but if you truly stand by yourself, hold your own hand, and give yourself strength to do this, it is gonna be totally different, especially materially, because something to truly give you that independence that you need is coming in your life. Well, this is what the cards have to say for you, Pile 1. Thank you so much for listening, and wish you a blessed winter. Hello everyone who has chosen the second pile. Your cards are the Wheel of Fortune, the Hangman reversed, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Six of Pentacles. Now this is quite a beautiful and really lucky, surprising, unexpected combination of cards, because chances are you guys are in for a big upgrade, especially from a material perspective. I wouldn't call this like a big life change or a big breakthrough moment. In a way, it is kind of similar to what Pile 1 had, but this is a little bit different. Because for you guys, it looks like a kind of quantum leap, to be totally honest with you. Because this Wheel of Fortune Well, ultimately, this represents the turning of fate, the hangman reversed. That's like a quantum leap when, one moment you're in the cocoon, you're in the inner universe, if you know what I mean. You're kind of comfortable there because that was the womb, that was the place of your metamorphosis, and also it kept you safe. This hangman is like a certain kind of stagnation with the major material aspects of your life. But even though, as in money, job, and stuff like that, stagnated, as in, how should I say, worth wise, the numbers didn't really go up. But the work that you have done, what you've learned, and what you've done during that time was like phenomenal. It was like mind blowing. That's how much you transformed, that's how much you changed, that's how much you learned. You're like a totally different version of yourself, like a totally different person than who you were before. This isn't just like a transformation, this is like almost like a rebirth, like purges after purges, and a lot of sacrifice, a lot of karmic work, a lot of karmic cord cutting. Maybe you had to cut some karmic cords from your family of origin. This doesn't mean that you abandoned them or disowned them or anything dramatic, just that you had to separate your existence from theirs from a karmic perspective, if this makes sense, because you carried a cross from their behalf. So what you inherited from your family of origin for a lot of years, and enough was enough. And there were also karmic friendship and perhaps soulmate kind of connections in your life which no longer had their place. They were not just outlived. It was almost like people were using you and certain connections had to be terminated while other connections rekindled, and it was like you kind of found out who your true friends and soulmates were in life. So where I'm going with this, that it was a lot of inner work, it was a lot of chaos, it was a lot of frustration even, because as I said, that stagnation was a kind of stagnation you never experienced in your life. It was almost like money-wise or materially in any way, shape or form, it was like time was frozen still. Nothing basically moved forward. And even when it moved forward, the figures, the numbers, money-wise, just cancelled themselves. The figure itself, as in how much you were worth, how much you owned, just didn't progress at all. Even when you had like an abundance or success or something like that, something came along and you had to spend it immediately. And right now it is this stagnation that is finally ending. Fate is turning, a new phase is coming. And as I said, the cocoon is shattering already. There are already cracks, there are already holes. You can actually, for the first time, see, maybe intuitively, or maybe it is your super intelligence, because you're a very intelligent person, like hyper, like the genius kind of archetype. You might have strong Aquarian energy in your chart. Anyway, so your mind can almost see through the cocoon, and it starts perceiving the future in a way you have never ever done before. You just know deep within yourself that trying to guess what's coming is futile, because it's not going to be the way you envisage it, and you feel like a surprise coming, an unexpected surprise, and there's no polarity to it. You're not expecting something, a miracle, but neither a moment of massive misfortune. You just know that something comes and shakes up your life. And also, you really done a lot of work in the past 3 years. You really worked on something that was your life goal, or a talent that was your biggest gift in life. So it was almost like putting all your strength into something, a career, a hobby, something artistic, something that is very, very specific to you. It was like a massive awakening where every part of your being, your mind, your heart, your instincts, your intuition, even your dreams were just telling you the same thing, to go and do that which you're good at, to use your greatness, the intellect that you possess, the uniqueness that you have, and just shine. Now, of course, you did this exemplary. You followed your instinct, you followed the inner voice, the guidance, you've done it, and you achieved a lot of things. But maybe the money part was the side which just didn't reflect the fruits of your labor. And it is that which is finally changing, because the stillness, the stagnation, the cocoon, the freezing of time, if that makes sense, is no longer needed. You are safe, because that was meant to keep you safe, because a hyperactive mind very quickly destroys that which it doesn't perceive as successful or fruitful, that which leads to fruition. So that stagnation was like the biggest gift from the universe to you, to stop you from destroying your own work, that which you're building, that which you're constructing, not to allow you to have a moment of burnout or a rage moment, frustration moment, and destroy or discard or do something to your work, or to manifest another opportunity in your life, for example, a 9-to-5 job, or any other opportunity which gets you money or gets you out from the material stagnation, gives you more earthly power, if you know what I mean, and then stop your work and get to the wrong conclusion. The universe basically insisted with everything that it got. It just didn't allow you any progress or forward movement, because you needed to embody the right kind of conclusion, the right karmic lesson. And the right karmic lesson is that when you love something passionately and you have a massive desire in your heart, and that doesn't go away regardless what happens, that means it's your life path that is burning inside of you, and you need to start working with it against all odds. And that is exactly the situation you had in your life. You had to do it against all odds, and with no help or with no income, if you know what I mean. It didn't get prosperous. You've been there, you've done that, and that instinct of yours to destroy your work because it's not successful stopped. Finally, that part was purged out or healed, or you banished that aggressive mental pattern from your mind, from your mindset. So things are turning for you in a favorable, fortunate way. Chances are you already have someone in your life, even though you might not know that person, or you might not realize who that person is or what their intent is, who wants to help you out, who sees your true worth. And there is going to be a lucky moment, the Wheel of Fortune, Jupiter, the great benefic, which is going to align you exactly where you need to be, so that Eight of Pentacles can be either an offer to take your business, your work, your hobby, that life path passion which you are already living, doing, to the proper level, to the next level, where it not just supports you, but it gives you the life that you deserve to have. But the material resources can also come in totally unexpected ways, like an inheritance, or maybe a win, or maybe a big generous donation from someone who loves you dearly. And in this case, if that's someone who loves you dearly, you know that person naturally. Maybe something big is going to happen in their lives and they just share it with you. So if that is the case, you know that person well. it's a relative or someone close to you. But for others still, it can also be like a fated professional recognition where you kind of get what you deserve. Because, as I said, you had this period of stagnation where you either weren't paid or weren't paid enough, or, it just didn't work out materially and you still kept going. The karmic side of that is like a huge buildup of resources beyond the whale, if you know what I mean. And now the tap has to be turned so it can flow into your life. So, even if what is gonna happen to you seems lucky or maybe miraculous even, perfect coincidence, right timing, it's not really as lucky because you kind of worked for it already. So it's just you getting the fruits of your labor. And this is another big karmic lesson for you. This kind of has to change your relationship with luck because, true luck is when you don't work for something at all and it just falls into your lap. And the person who you truly are deep within doesn't even appreciate that. So you don't even want to be lucky deep within your heart. What you want to do is be successful in the sense that what you work for to manifest as in to have some kind of physical expression, to bear fruits. And this will just teach you that by working for something and investing energy and effort into it, spiritually, physically, in any way, shape or form, well, ultimately it will be lucky. It has to get lucky, because as long as you hold the desire and the frequency, even if the way and shape form that you are initiating it is not lucky or is not viable, it's not okay, not the right form, there are things with it which need to be readjusted, changed, well, you will just force it to change, readjust, and as long as you keep on adding to it, keep on feeding it, keep on nourishing it, just like if it would be your child, it will become viable. And this isn't really a matter of luck or good fortune. This is simply doing something and owning your luck. So this is what the cards have to say for you. Thank you so much for listening and wish you a blessed winter. Hello everyone who has chosen the third pile. Your cards are the Ace of Wands, the Moon, the Ten of Swords, and the Faith, which is the High Priest reversed. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is a pretty heavy energy here. And you're definitely in for a massive life change, but perhaps not the way you kind of expected it to happen. And what ultimately this period of the next 3 months is gonna do to you guys is that it will simply free your true self from a lot of conditioning, if that makes sense. This is gonna be the moment when you finally get certain very important personal, karmic even, answers that you have been looking for, searching for a very long time now. And I do believe that most of you guys have been going through a really powerful transformation ever since the beginning of 2018, and it was almost like the transformation wasn't like it should be, because you kept on losing this value, that value, this is a conditioning, this is not authentic, this is not me, this doesn't resonate, this is my own illusion, this is my own mental construct, this is my own coping mechanism, if that makes sense. So it was almost like a massive cleanup in your unconscious, having to release everything that has been lurking there, and that means having to confront with one pain, one trauma, one after the other, and it was almost like ongoing and non-stop from 2018. And the thing is, purging is absolutely fine. You get the message, you get the reason, you get the necessity. But what about regeneration, rediscovering yourself, co-creating, becoming that person who you know you need to be? And there are certain elements which are totally missing. Because, as I said, the purge part and the elimination part was like total clockwork. It was ongoing, it was on schedule. Perhaps any lunation that has happened, like especially full moons, might have been just another page, another chapter of the purge. You discovered wounds, traumas, hurts, memories from your childhood and even past lives which you never thought you even had. So it was a very, very powerful journey that symbolically stripped you to the very core of your being, and you discovered so very much beauty, gentleness, and pure love and good intent in your being, which you also never kind of wanted to believe that you had, but basically you just amazed yourself of what you discovered lurking deep within you, especially that beauty, that artistic expression, the deep and pure faith that you have, the true and healthy and empowering kind of optimism, not really the self-delusion and the manipulation that, oh, everything's gonna be okay. And also you discovered so much emotional power, and you had this unique perspective to look back at your life, your story, your past from a totally different lens, from totally different perspective, and appreciate so much that you've been through. So many occasions when you were genuinely strong, when you were absolutely amazing and brilliant, and no one in your life saw this, and that distorted your visage, that distorted your image of the lived experiences, if that even makes sense. It was almost like you had to relive your life once again, but this time through open eyes, through compassionate heart, for you to actually feel compassion for yourself, not to judge yourself, not to push yourself that I wasn't strong enough, I wasn't resilient enough. But that is how you saw things before. But now you kind of understand that, oh my God, I can't believe how strong I was really. I can't believe that I held out. I can't believe so many things that you survived. So that is really, really wonderful, because that is definitely where you open the little door, the little window towards genuine self-love. Yet, despite all this miraculous journey, and so much has happened in your life in that past 3-4 years that you can't even not see it as miraculous, mysterious, a lot of synchronicity and big coincidences, yet still that emptiness, that void still lurks deep within you, because there's a part of yourself that you purged out, but it just didn't come back, it didn't regenerate, it was not created, if that makes sense. And basically this is what the next 3 months of your life is gonna be about: creating that person, finishing the co-creation. Like, you know, if your identity is a shining star that basically illuminates and warms up everything in your life, well, that star still needs to ignite. The fusion at the core of the star needs to kickstart, because until that happens, you're just a luminous buildup of gas. You need to burn, you need to be on fire, you need to start believing in yourself. You need to start believing in the true identity that you have discovered. Of course, that true identity, so to speak, is a kind of different person than you ever thought about yourself that you could be. It's way too good to be true, if that makes sense. And you find it so hard to believe that you're that special, that unique, that good, that magical, really, because that's the key word here. You're that very, very magical that you just can't believe it, that is truly your authentic and genuine story. And what is gonna happen is, well, first of all, the last reminiscence of the past and whatever might be keeping you blocked right now is very swiftly, by the end of December, it's gonna just fade away from your life, termination after termination. But don't get me wrong, it's not bad, it's actually much needed termination. So you're gonna feel so very relieved as one obstacle follows the other, and even though they might not necessarily straight away fill the hole with something new, something else, basically your thirst for life and that inner fire that has to kickstart will just start getting stronger and stronger and stronger until it reaches the point where you just say to the universe, okay, I wanna live now. I'm ready to live. I'm ready to embrace life. I know who I am. I know who I wanna be. I know who I am never gonna be. And that is enough for me. That is like my very own blueprint. So now pour water, or better said, fire of existence, fire of life into me, so that I can come alive, I can establish myself, I can be my soul, basically. And when this happens, you will feel that life changes immediately. It's almost like stepping into a new dimension. Even when you walk out the house for the first time after this inner, how should I say, awakening, it's gonna be like you won't even recognize the energy, the feeling of everything that surrounds you. You might have seen, the same store or shop or whatever surrounds your home a million times before, and now when you're looking at it again, it's gonna be a little bit different. Something has already changed. That's how you're gonna feel. And as this true identity of yours comes online and starts creating itself based on experiences, because stuff is gonna keep on happening in your life, synchronicities, coincidences, mirrors, if that makes sense, where the universe kind of confirms everything, things will start to change physically as well. Because that person who you're birthing will need a material expression, a material shell, so to speak. So expect your life to start shifting very, very quickly and rapidly. Yes, into the unknown. It cannot even be foretold what and how your life is gonna look like very soon. But there is really nothing to be afraid of, because you just know what that identity of yours, which is being born, you kind of know what it needs. You kind of know what storyline, so to speak, you need to experience to enter even more into that role of yours. So it's even though it's very mysterious, it is very, very spontaneous, random, coincidental, synchronistic, and also scary in a sense, because it will be definitely stepping into the twilight zone, and reality is not gonna feel the same way. It's gonna be so very different. You will have to unlearn and unknow everything that you thought you knew until now, and then relearn it again, of course, very quickly in a lightning bolt moment. But the unlearning part is gonna be rather shocking and also difficult, because you will have to release like certain kind of big universal truths that have been with you all your life. For example, life is difficult, or you have to prove your worth, or suffer, or go through great challenges and difficulties to live your faith and stuff like that. So it is these fundamental, let's say, outlooks on life that are gonna be shattered, and you can imagine that only a positive expression of the opposite of that is gonna shatter this, and that will kind of kickstart the whole process, and your life will be very, very different. And it will also heal your connection and relationship to the divine, to the universe, because you also have certain kind of spiritual wounds deep inside of you, where you might have thought at certain difficult moments in your life that the universe abandoned you or doesn't believe in you or discriminates you, etc. So all of those will heal as well. And you know how your life might look like in 3 months' time, well, your guess is as good as mine. But all I can say is that the hardship, the hard part, the torturous part of the journey, the defeat, Ten of Swords, is finally a chapter of the past, and a totally new phase can begin. That which is mysterious, unknowable, even coincidental, but this is how you create something out of nothing. So thank you so much for listening. I hope this was useful and wish you a blessed winter celebration. Hello everyone who has chosen the fourth pile. Your cards are the Emperor, the King of Wands, the Judgment, and the Nine of Pentacles. Now this is also a really, really good and promising combination. Very optimistic, because on first look, what this kind of says to me is you are definitely gonna take control, ownership, rulership, whatever that represents for you personally, over your life routines, and other people in your life. It is time for you guys to be the king of your own castles. And you know, maybe for some this is quite literal, because it might have to involve like a house, a location. Maybe for some of you guys this means relocation to a much, much better place, to a place where you are truly supported, either for example financially, move to a city where the job opportunities or something that you're already working is, you know, promising. There's a very good economic climate, there is interest, for example. Or it can be a better community, it can be nature, where you're moving away from a location, a place, a home where nature has not been very abundant, and you're moving to a natural location where there's trees and natural elements everywhere, and it's just this vibe that is going to be totally different. For other people, this can very much be job, business, career related, especially if you have been doing something very significant in this sense in the recent past. Recent past can go to past 4 months, past 6 months, or even from the very beginning of the year. If you initiated something, started something, have been working on something, especially if you have your own business, or if you have like a more independent career, or like a project, or went freelance, started your own thing, this can look very, very promising, because this doesn't just mean a breakthrough, it kind of means stability, reaching a position of power. And also this Judgment, a very powerful and impacting decision that you have to make. So I'm not saying that there is a string attached or a compromise, but you will have to make a decision to abandon something or to move on from something that maybe is not really negative in your life, or maybe to accept that you're no longer needed practically, in a practical sense, so not emotionally, where you are right now, especially if you're supporting your family or friends, or you're involved in something supportive to another person or group of people or something. You might have to realize that that work or that phase, that part of your life is done, completed. So you're only there because you think that emotionally you're still needed there, which even if it's true, you need yourself more right now. So maybe this is the decision that you have to make, to choose yourself, to choose your situation, to choose your life, and do what you need to do for yourself. Because this Emperor and the King of Wands represents that whatever you will need is gonna be there. So it's not like the big struggle where you have nothing in your life, no support, no anything, but you still need to choose yourself and start your journey. This is different because you will have what you need. So the catalyst will be there, maybe the fated event, the person, or the opportunity, or the business connection, or maybe your intention manifesting, that will be the determining factor, telling you that you can actually choose yourself right now and start making your way towards this Nine of Pentacles, greater independence. For those of you, for example, who are already in a job and a stable career, this Emperor can represent an unexpected advancement, a position, a leadership position opening, something that your manager will offer to you that is potentially situation at least changing, because it will give you much more earthly power and control, managing your time, and ultimately independence and much more money. For others, especially those who started on their path, they're working on something, but they need greater income, they need more support, they need more freedom in their lives to make it, to succeed, to have a breakthrough. Because in this case, the breakthrough is guaranteed if you keep up this work. At one point in, 6 months or whatever, your breakthrough is 1,000,000% gonna come. So for you guys, it's like a race against time, because until your business or whatever you're doing crystallizes, it gets grounded, you have to survive, and that's difficult. That's very, very difficult. Maybe you guys are thinking already between choosing that which you started, your passion, your goal, your strength, doing it for yourself, doing it the right way, the empowered way, solo, and having to abandon this dream, this goal, this passion, desire, and just, getting like a job, or doing the, symbolically speaking, of course, the right thing, which the right thing is the wrong thing for you, is just right socially. And you might have asked the universe to send you guidance in this way, like, what do I do now, Divine? Do I keep on following my passion and hoping that everything is gonna work out? Or do I stop now and do the right thing again? And the universe is gonna show you very clearly, don't do the right thing. Keep on doing what you're doing, because that is always how it's supposed to be for you. That was meant for you. That was almost like fated. You're not on that journey. You're not living your passion basically for no reason. That has to be successful, as in it needs to success on your terms basically. And if there is no other outlook, if there's no other perspective in your life right now for any opportunity or option, it can simply be a person. Especially if you're single, that Emperor can be a male with the King of Wands, a passionate male, a very, very hyper male who kind of immediately gets the point of how good you are and what you want to do with that project or passion, career, or whatever that may be. And they'll just say, well, I have everything that you could possibly need, let me help you, and we'll do this together. And that person, especially if they're a male, they have not just experience, but they kind of have a spirit of initiation which you don't really have. So they will make it so easy for you they will bring out the very, very best from you. They will know how. And I also see this being rather unconditional, and also see this being some kind of fated connection, the judgment. So there is so very many ways that this can play out. Just that, the light at the end of the tunnel is very clear. You becoming king, you becoming the emperor, you taking control over your life. You're no longer at life's terms, at life's mercy, at life's conditions, if that makes sense. The point here is that you can actually rule, guide, lead your life through your choices and decisions, and have the material power and emotional power and psychological liberty to do this. Again, the choice that you have to make. You just have to abandon something or someone and choose yourself, choose your life, choose your own strength. This is a must right now. There is no really other choice, to be honest here. And this King of Wands suggests that this is already ongoing. Whatever karmic influence this is, it already started for you. Either you're getting hints, or you have an unexplainable anxiety, almost like butterflies in your stomach, or you cannot rest, or your frustration kind of changed a little bit into a sense of serendipity or like excitedness, because you can feel something or someone coming. And this is where it's guiding you to this Nine of Pentacles ultimately. To kind of live your life the way you want it. And for those of you who, for whom this is a relationship, well, maybe even forget the career or project or whatever you're seriously working on, because this person is gonna shock you in the most positive sense, of course, so much that they will just blow your mind, and what you'll be living after you meet this person is gonna be a different kind of chapter, totally not what you envisage, or not even, this is beyond your wildest dreams. So this is what the cards have to say to you. Thank you so very much for listening, and I wish everyone a blessed winter. So this concludes today's reading. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for all the kindness, for all the likes, shares, support and generosity. If you'd like to keep on supporting my work and my channel, you can donate in the PayPal link in the description below. With this being said, I wish everyone a wonderful and magical weekend. Until next time, bye for now.